Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I'm Dave Wescott, CEO of Evergreen Brands. This is Vince Ortiz, Vice President of Business Development. And today we are talking about one of the most important aspects of sales, and that is pricing your work.
Mm-hmm. Estimating.
Estimating your work, that's right.
Yeah.
So the question comes in, how does pricing your work affect your business? What's the real life scenario? We submit a bid to a customer.
Yeah.
We think our numbers are tight. They come back and say, your bid is super low. What do? We don't think you can execute the work at this price.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
All the time. What do?
What do you do?
This is a tough question, right? You got a couple of choices.
Right.
Do you go back to the client and raise the price? Do you look at your formulas and make sure you didn't make a mistake?
Yeah.
Do you say, no, I think our pricing is right, we can do this? What do you do when the customer says your bid is low?
How much money am I leaving on the table?
How much money am I leaving on the table?
Right.
Will my team be able to execute this?
That's it.
You know, I think that one of the lessons that I've learned over the years is that someone needs to check your pricing. Someone needs to check the work. The other thing is that you shouldn't be pricing or estimating your work late into the night.
Good call.
Because you know what? You're tired.
Mm-hmm.
You miss things. You miss things on bids. I'll be honest with you that just last night, just yesterday, I was bidding a project for 51 snow sites. I was just going through it and looking at it, and I caught an error. And I caught an error in the Excel formula. And you know, when you take a cell and let's say you put, we're going to have 20 de-icing services in there, and you throw that in there and it's the top line, and you think this is how many de-icing services we're going to have for the season, and you throw that number in there, and then you take Excel and you just drag the right hand column all the way down, and it gives you 20 all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this case, it didn't give 20 all the way down. It gave 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, all. So what do you think that did to the price? In this case, it blew it up.
Yeah.
The bid looked awesome. $1 million.
$1 million business.
And in reality, it was only $750K.
Yeah.
But going back, double checking that, right? Making sure that your pricing is done right is so important for your success. Because if you don't price the work right, you're going to have a hard time executing it, or you're not going to win it.
Right.
So when that customer comes to you and says your price is too low, or your price is 25% of everybody else's, you get that little shiver up your spine.
Well, when you're talking about it, it happens to a lot of businesses early on, right? I mean,
early on,
and we're always checking our pricing, right?
Yep.
It's a continued process.
We're always working on our pricing, right?
Yeah. But would you say that you always look at it from the standpoint of what margins do we need to make?
Yeah.
Right.
What's our margin?
Yep.
How many hours do we think it's going to take to do the work?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because that's what estimating is, right? It's all just a time and motion study.
Right.
How many hours do I think it's going to take to build this table?
Mm-hmm.
This table that we're sitting at had to have the bottom of the table drilled. So when they were putting it together, this table It took a little extra time. And then it has 4 legs and a stand, so you got to flip it over, you got to screw it together, you got to follow the instructions on the first one. So the first one might take an hour.
Yeah.
I know that seems simple for a little table, but depending on who it is, take them an hour.
Yeah.
And then the next one might take 45 minutes. And then the next one might take 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one might take 15 minutes.
Factoring also the material cost.
Factoring in the material cost.
Yeah.
We want to know what does our materials cost and what is the markup on that material, because we can't give the material to the client for free.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's time to get the material.
Mm-hmm. We're
We're typically buying it at a wholesale cost. Because we buy in volume, we get a discount. That should be part of our profit. Mm-hmm. Right? So we got to have profit on our materials. And then we've got to figure out our labor. How much can we produce per hour? What is that production rate that we are looking at to make us the money that we want to make in this industry?
Right.
So, it begs to the question, what happens when the customer comes back and says your price is too low? How do we manage that? Because 2 things are going to happen. One, the client might not have faith that you can actually do the work. Even if you can do the work, they might be so leery of the price that they're like, listen, you are so far low, you are so far out of the ballpark that we aren't going to risk it, because I'm actually going to look bad if I work with you.
Right.
And 2, if you go in and you accept that work as the low bidder, the far, far, far low bidder, you leave all that money on the table, you better be prepared to execute it at all costs.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will ruin your reputation, you will ruin your name by doing that. So I believe the best thing to do is truly go back and look at all your numbers. Make sure that something was not missed.
Right.
Make sure you have everything dialed in. And if you made an error, own it. Go back to the customer and let them know, hey, we made an error. If, and the other thing is, if you're bidding these projects in Excel, sometimes there's mistakes in Excel. Right? It's better to use a software system for bidding that is, isn't so manual. Like Excel is an awesome program, but it's so manual, so little formulas can get missed every now and again.
Yeah. Especially
right?
as you're changing them all the time. Yeah.
So we want to be really cognizant of that, but go back to the customer, own the mistake, make it right, because there's no point in doing the business if you're not going to be profitable.
Bottom line, man.
Right? Turn the business down.
That's it. Yeah.
We have a philosophy. Shouldn't say we had, but we have a philosophy like, if it's not going to make sense, just walk away.
Yeah.
Don't take on work that's not going to make money, that's not going to be profitable, that's not going to be the end result. We don't want to take work just for the sake of taking work.
Keep busy?
Right. We don't want to keep the guys busy. We can't run that kind of business, because if we're not making profits, we're in serious trouble. It doesn't mean that we don't invest in things. It doesn't mean that we don't have parts of our business that are investment that's going to pay off in the long run.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you could talk about our video team, right? Our multimedia team. Like, that's an investment for the future. Why is that? Because we're thinking far out in advance. We're thinking 5-10 years down the road. Mm-hmm. And we're saying, hey, the world is going video. It's like, you remember that day that, a lot of people on the call won't remember, but you will. Is you remember the day of the phone book, right?
Oh, I thought you were just going to say horse and buggy, but yeah.
I know you're old, Vince, but I didn't know you were that old.
I've seen pictures.
You're like vampire young. Once bitten.
That's it. It's so true. That's a whole different topic, though.
How old are you really, man? What's going on over here? What's going on with Vince?
Was it what we were talking about?
Well, now that we know that you've been bit by a vampire, And you've been living forever since the horse and buggy days.
It doesn't change, man.
But the phone book, right? The phone book was the way that we did business. We needed something, we picked up the phone book. We needed it, we just grabbed the phone book. Okay, I need the San Francisco phone book, I need the Seattle phone book, I need the New York phone book. The phone book was where everything was. And we were conditioned to it. We advertised in it, we picked up our business in it. And then all of a sudden, this thing called the internet came along. And they were like, build a website. And initially I was like, I ain't building no website. That's stupid. I ain't doing no email. I do fax.
Yeah.
I'm a fax guy.
Fax and phone book.
Right? I don't need this cloud. I got a freaking filing cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
But you think about that, right? You think about those changes. You think about how you're going to business. Listen, all of this comes down to how you price your work.
Right.
Can we be more efficient working in the cloud or working out of the filing cabinet? Are we more efficient working out of email or out of a filing cabinet?
Yeah.
What's more efficient?
Yeah.
If we create efficiencies in our business, we can reduce price. If we want to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you bring up a good point, talking about how you're able to make adjustments to, I'll back up. Knowing your value in your business, will then dictate whether you take the business on or not. Because you talked about being able to walk away.
Yep.
Right. And so many times I see owners and decision makers just maybe miss on knowing what the value is of their business. And what I mean by that is that don't take on a job that might look good on just revenue, but doesn't have the profits built into it. I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's, to me, I always tie that into knowing your value. If it's a service business, know that value that you're going to stick within this area.
Right.
Right. For taking business or being able to walk away. Sometimes you're not, and that's the thing that's what it does is it allows you to walk away, because if you don't have that, you're taking on everything that comes your way. And it could be low margins.
So let's just say, when we're talking about margins, do we care about the gross or do we care about the net?
Gross is, I think, where it begins, but then it ties into how you run your business,
right.
Expenses, payroll, all those things.
Because we want a net.
Yeah.
Net's what we want. We want to take home. We want to take home.
Yeah.
Right? That's where the money is in this thing. So if we know what we're going to take home, we got to start with the end in mind, right? Mm-hmm. So they say that world-class, super successful, amazing businesses bring home 10% net.
Yep.
Right? That's the profit that they bring in.
Google it.
Google it.
It's there.
Google it. Google has all the answers, man. Google knows everything.
Right?
That's why I love Google.
Yeah, just fact check.
What's going on with Google? I actually use Google for pretty much everything now. And I'm starting to talk to Siri.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it's becoming
a
long
thing.
Ways. It's becoming a thing. It's becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Hey, Siri, I even gave her a nickname. I changed her name to Monica.
Did you really?
No, I'm just kidding. I made that up.
Do that?
That was
How'd you do that?
Hey, you just pick your favorite girlfriend that you're no longer with, and you say, this is the name of Siri.
You keep in touch.
Yeah, what's up? You can give her an accent.
I've heard that, yeah.
Right? You can make her talk however you want. On the male side, if you're a female, you can go late night DJ. You can get that late night DJ voice. If you're a man, you can go Australian. I don't know. Whatever it is that you want. But the end of the day is what we're talking about is serious stuff here, is how you price your work, how you put your work together, and what does that look like for your customer. And it starts with estimating who in your office, who on your team is in charge of estimating, who is there to ensure that the jobs go right. And I will say this, even the best estimators, people who've been doing it a long time, make mistakes. Mm-hmm. Right? Mistakes get made along the way when projects are estimated. And how do you do that? What is best for your business? In my opinion, if I'm not going to make profit on it, if it's not going to be successful for the brand, I'm going to walk.
Yeah.
Right? I've made that decision a long time ago. Like, if we can't do something or if we underestimated something, we're going to walk. I also need to trust my sales team.
Yep.
right? If my sales team says, hey, this is where we need to be, we need to look at those numbers and say, can we do this, or do we need to walk away from this business? Are we doing this to get our foot in the door with this particular customer?
Strategic, right?
But I think the really important question is that let's say that we want to make a 50% gross margin. And let's say that our average job size is $35,000. And let's say that we bid our job, making our 50% gross margin. Of course, all of our bottom line expenses have to come out of that.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say that we want that margin on $35,000. Mm-hmm. That's our average job size. Let's just say, as an example. Now what happens is we have an opportunity to bid a job that's $500,000, more than 10 times our average job size. But we've set this policy in our company that says every job we do is 50% gross margin. My question to you, do we need 50% gross margin on $500,000? Or can we bring that down to become more competitive?
Yeah. The latter.
We want to bring it down.
Absolutely.
Right? We want to negotiate.
Yep.
Because we are probably going to make a ton of money on this project.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, but if we go too high in this scenario, we potentially lose the work.
Mm-hmm. We get priced out.
We get priced out.
For sure.
So the level of work that you're bidding at, the profit that you're bidding at as you start to bid against bigger companies, larger companies, that's going to dramatically change. So what you want to do is estimating and sales is not just sticking to the same thing all the time. One of our core values is be nimble. You've got to be nimble with your pricing.
Right.
The pricing suggestion, the pricing estimate has so much more to do with the client. Where is the job located? How far away is it? How much am I going to have to travel? Is the customer difficult? Are they picky? You know, a picky customer is going to get charged more. I hate to say it, but the more picky you are, the more money you're going to spend, because we know as people in the service industry, we're going to spend more time handling you.
Yep.
Right? The easier you are to deal with, the better price you're going to get.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Does that mean that we don't have quality? No, it doesn't mean we don't have quality. It just means that some people grind on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we got to stay away from the grinders.
You do, and you have to develop for your business. Let's just call it a checklist.
Yeah.
Of that ties into the strategy. I mean, if you're gonna, and it dictates and fluctuates with the pricing, right? So if strategic, is it one site now? Can it be potentially 50 sites now? Down the road. I mean, it ties all that together so that you're able to fluctuate, get your foot in the door.
Yep.
Right, with some pricing and then just kill it on service to continue to get that business.
That's right. Focus on your price. I think when we look at business, there's 3 things that we can control: quality, price, and speed.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things affect how successful we are going to be in this business. All 3 of those things. So what do I mean by speed? Let's talk about from the worst end. What do I mean by speed? It's the time in which you get to the customer.
Yeah.
Right? The faster you get to customer, what? The more responsive you are. Mm-hmm. The more responsive you are, the better chance you have to win the work.
It's the world we're in.
The quicker that you turn a proposal, the faster you are, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm dealing with this electrical company. They do great work. We do a lot of these EV electrical installation projects. And this electrical company that we work with, it literally takes them a month to get the numbers back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so egregious, the time that it takes, that, I've made this decision and I'm like, you know what? I can't work with these guys anymore. We cannot work with these guys because the speed is not there. They've got the quality.
Yeah.
And they've got the price, but they don't have the speed.
Missed opportunities.
When you were running your business, how quickly did you want to turn a bid around? What did that look like for you?
No, well, I saw it as an opportunity because the industry was weak at that in terms of turnaround. So I would want to get it back pretty quick, within the next day.
Next day, 24 hours. That was your goal.
Yeah.
And our goal at TransBlue is 24 hours.
Yeah.
Right. We want to see every bid turned in 24 hours.
Right.
Right. We want to be super responsive to our customers.
And what's that do for the customers on their end?
Oh, it just shows them you're on point.
Yeah.
It shows them you know what's going on.
Right.
Right. So really, really important that we have that dialed in. Now, we've been talking a lot about price.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to be the low bidder. Right? That's not our goal in business. Our goal in business is to provide a high level of quality and a high speed of work. That means that the price has to be able to pay for that.
Right.
Right? If you're going out for your birthday and you get two choices, you get taco time.
There's a story behind that.
You get taco time, which is essentially a Taco Bell, just like one grade up on the meat level. For those of you who don't have a Taco Time in your area,
Yeah.
It's one step better than a Taco John's probably, or whatever, slumlord fast food restaurant you're grubbing down at.
And you get the Mexi Nuggets.
And you get the Mexi Nuggets, right? Mexi Nuggets with little ketchup,
Yeah.
little ranch sauce.
Authentic stuff.
That's just like being down there in Chiapas. Chiapas is an area in Mexico.
Yeah.
So you get that. That's choice one. Taco time. Write that down. Mexi Nuggets.
It's gonna be tough.
Or you get Ruth Chris Steakhouse. Oof. What are you picking? Taco time?
It's a tough choice, man.
Tough choice.
Ruth Chris.
Ruth Chris, right? There's no comparison.
No, not at all.
There's no comparison. Mm-hmm. Right? Ruth Chris is a phenomenal meal. Okay. What's the difference? Is it
just in terms of service, in terms of
you get a clean restroom?
Yeah, that too.
Right? That's a big deal.
Yeah.
You get typically there's a little guy in there who actually, hands you the cloth to wipe your hands off. They got a little butler in there.
Yeah.
He's hanging out taking care of you. You don't get that at the taco time.
You get the key on on some kind of rope or something like that.
You get the key on a rope.
Yeah.
Or you get a passcode if it's in a really rough area, because you know that restroom's been hammered. The quality of food, right, at Ruth Chris is going to be through the roof.
Whole different level.
The ambience is going to be through the roof, right? It's going to be a great atmosphere. You're probably going to be there for a couple hours.
Yeah.
At taco time, your meal is going to cost you what? And Mexi Nuggets are expensive. and they charge a premium on those Mexi Nuggets too.
They do, but it's you got a lot of estimates to get to. It might be a better deal.
Yeah, that's right. You got to get your bids out. You're going to hit up the Mexi Nuggets. But maybe $15? 10? I hope it's 10.
It's been closer to 10.
Okay, 10. Yeah, so $10 for our meal for one person at taco time. But we're going out to dinner for our birthday. So, we might splurge and get the extra guacamole sauce. So by the time we pay for the extra guacamole sauce and our wife, we're at like $25.
Yeah, I'm taking a serious look at the marriage at that point.
All right, taking a serious look at the marriage. And now we go to the Ruth Chris and we're going to spend what, $300, $350?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
So was the price fair for the meal at Ruth Chris?
And all that comes with it? Yeah.
Yeah. Was the price fair for the meal at taco time?
For what you get.
For what you get.
Yeah.
Right? So it's understanding what your client wants.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, the chicken that's in the burrito and the chicken that you're going to get at the Ruth Chris or whatever, and I can't say steak because I don't think they have steak at taco time, but maybe they do. I just haven't ordered it. But, at the end of the day, like the price is fair for what you're purchasing. Like when you go to Taco Time, you understand what you're buying.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same as using an unlicensed contractor.
Yeah, take that risk.
Yeah.
A
little sweaty.
Yeah.
Little dirty.
Cheapest.
Smells a little bit. Some dings up in the truck.
Yeah.
Maybe no license, no bond.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know what you're buying.
Right.
There's a potential he's hooked on crack cocaine and may walk away from your job with your money. That's true.
Happens all the time.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
People get ripped off all the time.
Yep.
Or, you buy from a world-class brand that is focused on an incredible experience, that takes the time to wrap their trucks, that has insurance, that has quality project managers, that pays their people, that takes care of benefits, that takes care of 401k, that cares about who they are as a company, that cares about their reputation, and is focused on giving you the most incredible experience possible. That's what price comes down to. That's what you're buying.
Right.
And that's where your quality comes from. You don't get your quality without that.
Right.
Right? So when you're deciding who you are, when you're talking about price and you're building your brand and you're building your business and you're going through this exercise, you need to decide who your customer is. Because there is a customer for Taco Time, Taco Bell, Taco John's, Taco Mike's, Taco Ralph's, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
There is a market for that.
Yeah.
And that drive-through line, brother, is around the building.
They're all over the place. They line up. Clients looking for that Ruth Chris
Right.
will walk away from that.
Right.
From their point of view, because it's they know that they want to see it succeed in their business, right? And they're not going to be able to say that, hey, listen, I can't. These guys are those Taco Time type of people. That's not what I want.
Right.
So.
And what's right in the middle? Olive Garden? You been to the Olive Garden?
Oh, it's been a while. The bread's pretty good.
Yeah, the bread's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's free breadsticks.
Still?
Probably poisoned. I don't know if they're still free.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to the Olive Garden, hit up the Home Depot, maybe the Bed Bath and Beyond. That kind of Will Ferrell Sunday afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
right? Old School. You remember that line in Old School? Yeah, we're gonna hit up the Olive Garden. Maybe go to the Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's all in
Home
the same place.
Depot. Yeah. Gonna fire up the Red Dragon later. The Olive Garden is kind of the in between. You're gonna have a nice meal.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna spend about $100.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not a Taco Time or a Taco Bell, but it's definitely not a Ruth Chris either.
Yeah.
But on a lot of levels, that being, not being anything great, just kind of being average, it's kind of tough too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you really need to decide who you want to be and what you want to be, as a company, and how you want to deliver that. And then your pricing is based off of that. And then what kind of quality are you delivering and what kind of speed are you delivering? Mm-hmm. We know that if we go to Denny's, we're going to hang out for like 45 minutes before the food comes, right?
Yeah.
We know we better be with a talker, because there's nothing worse than two introverts going to dinner at Denny's.
And waiting around.
You know how you can tell you got two introverts at a table?
Nothing. What? Everybody's looking at the phone?
That's right. That's right. Husband and wife go out. They're both looking at their phones. Are you going to interact with each other? Now we're both introverts and we're at Denny's. We wait 45 minutes. They're sitting at the table. They're texting one another. What are you going to have? I think I'm going to have the vanilla with chocolate sauce. Cool. Your thumbs look great.
So
We have a lot of fun. You can tell we have a lot of fun, but who are you going to be? Right? So important as you price your work. What kind of company are you going to be? What kind of service are you going to deliver? And it really starts with that price. And if you're really focused on your entrepreneurial journey and you're focused on building that $1 million business, as we bring this thing in for a landing, the deal here is, if you want to build a $1 million business, you got to know who you are. Mm-hmm. If you're Taco Bell, that's awesome. If you're Taco Time, that's awesome. If you're Denny's, that's awesome. If you're Olive Garden, that's awesome. If you're Ruth Chris, it's awesome. But pick one and be consistent with it and deliver a quality that's, based on the price, and then deliver a speed of service that's based on the price that you're charging. And don't try to be all things to all people, but be really, really good at one thing.
Right.
And focus and hone in there. And you know what? There's a place for every one of those types of service. Mm-hmm. But you got to know who you're going to be. Listen, if you enjoyed this call, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a share. We'd love to see it. I'm David Wescott, follow me on LinkedIn. Hook up. Let's get connected. Let's chat back and forth. If you like this content, follow us. This is Vince Ortiz. If you like the content, follow him, connect with him, get connected up on that LinkedIn. Vince, you got anything else? Any parting words of wisdom?
No, other than just always come back to the profitability.
Profitability, baby. Next week, same bat time, same bat channel.